Hey, what is up, fellow raiders? This is Vulcan Dan, and in today's Raid Shadowlands video, we will be talking about CARDIEL because we do have a ×2 Void Shard event live right now, and you may have been lucky enough if you did pull your Void Shards to get this Void Legendary. He's been in the game for 1 year now, I think, and you may be thinking of how to build him. He is very flexible. He is good both as an offensive champion and a defensive champion. So you do have flexibility in his build. And I will show you mine right here. I have built him more of an offensive type with high damage. And this is more of a free-to-play friendly or budget-friendly build because I am a free-to-play player. But you can, of course, build him with a high HP, high defense, high resist. So he really does have a lot of flexibility in his build. It really depends on which area of the game you want to use him in, whether it's arena. And in the arena, you can have an offensive team or a defensive team. You can use him in dungeons, clan boss, doom tower. He's basically useful everywhere in the game. So yeah, so his A1 is a single target, heals all allies by 7.5% of their max HP, and will also place a True Fear debuff for 1 turn if the target is from Demon Spawn, Undead Hordes, or Knights Revenants. Now, this second part right here, not really that important, can be useful in the arena, especially if you're facing against those nasty Duchess. So yeah, so this True Fear can be useful. So, but this is the only skill that he has that will require accuracy. So you can actually build him with really low accuracy. You don't really need to worry too much about this True Fear. For myself, I built him with some accuracy, but technically it's not that important. This skill, A1, is technically his only attack skill, but he will use this A1 with his A3 and his passive. So his A3 places an increased crit rate and increased crit damage on all allies for 2 turns, then teams up with all allies to attack a target enemy. Other ally attack champions just takes 2 or 3 of your champions, but this guy, especially in a place like Doom Tower or the dungeons, wherein you have a team of 5 champions, he will take them all, including himself, and attack the target enemy. So this is a very hard-hitting skill because, of course, if you have a Draco or any hard-hitting champion, you can deal so much damage with just one attack. And he will use his A1, of course, along with this A3 right here. He will also use his A1 with his passive. Whenever an ally attacks, has a 15% chance, can be booked up to a 30% chance to team up with them and join their attack. And this champion will always attack with their default skill, which is this A1. So if you want to build him more of an offensive champion, you can be ready, or you can expect to see this A1 pop at random whenever any of your allies do an attack. It has to be an attack. So if it's just a like a skill that places debuffs or a skill that places buffs on your own team, that does not count. He will not have a 30% chance to use this skill, but any attack that your allies do, he will have that 30% chance to do this A1 right here. So these are his more offensive skills, but his defensive skill is his A2, removes all debuffs from all allies and places a block debuffs and a revive on death for 2 turns, and the revive on death cannot be removed. So his A2 is a purely defensive skill, while his A3 is a purely offensive skill. So it can be quite confusing for some players whenever they first pull this champion and then they take a look at his kit. Should I build him with high HP, high defense, or high attack? Again, it really depends on where you want to use him. If you want to use him as an arena in a blender team, then of course you can build him with high attack. But if you want to build him as someone who will remove the debuffs and then place that block debuff, then of course you have to build him with high resist, or place him in immunity set, give him high HP, high defense, high resist as well, and then you don't need to worry about his crit rate and crit damage. But if you're like me, who likes to focus on PvE, dungeons, Doom Tower. Then I just built him with high speed and high attack right there. Right, and of course for masteries you can be quite flexible as well. Since I'm mainly an offensive build, I went to the offense tree and gave him War Mastered. Of course, he will pop that A1 so often, even during your during the other champion's turn, he can pop his A1. So putting him in a more offensive mastery, I think, is a good idea to reduce the run times of your dungeon runs. And of course, this lasting gifts is also very useful because he does place a lot of buffs on your team. Those increase crit rate, increase crit damage, and because he does place increased crit rate, I did not build him with 100%, so I just got him to 84. That is fine. Just make sure to build him with really high speed. 242. This is just decent speed. You know, as a free to play player, I can't build him with like 300 speed, but this one is quite okay. Also 3000 attack. Nothing crazy. I even have a life set on him because I do have this nice life set with crit damage and then crit rate and then speed and then HP. So I wanted to use this on him. Now, before I show you CARDIEL in action, I also just want to say that not a lot of people are aware that he is also actually a pretty decent healer because his A1 heals all allies by 7.5% of their max HP. And of course, unlike other champions, he uses his A1 quite a lot because the only time when he will not use his A1 is whenever he uses his A2. He will use his A1 with the A3 because this is an ally attack, and he will again attack with his A1, and then his passive has a 30% chance of proccing of using his A1. So he will actually use this a lot, which means not only will he damage the enemy, but he will also heal your entire team by 7.5% of their max HP. So he is really a very flexible champion, both offensive and defensive. So yeah, not a lot of people are aware of this, even though it's right there on his A1. But you know, they mostly think about his cleanse on his A2, his ally attack. But yeah, he's also a very good healer as well. All right, so let's show you him in action. All right, now here we are at a dragon because we do have a dragon tournament live right now for the fragment event. He is again useful in so many areas of the game, not only dragon, but I just want to show you an example of how his passive can proc, like what happened just a few seconds ago. Whenever any of your allies attack, he does have that 30% chance of joining in and just popping in that A1. And he just did that ally attack right there. And then his passive procced again. So again, very useful to get those damage out there. He does hit quite hard, even though he is a support champion and technically not supposed to hit hard, but he does have a 4 times multiplier on his attack. Let's see if his passive will proc again. Let's wait for an attack. Right there. No. Yeah, so I have Mashalid on a relentless set, so he's doing those extra turns. All right. Waiting for his next passive. Yeah, so I think his passive proc right there. So he did this A1 before his turn, and then when his turn came, he had that ally attack, and then he did his A3. But yeah, very useful. And then if you get him in War Master, you do get that extra War Master proc as well. Really helps to do a lot of damage to any boss. So whether it's a dragon, if you want to use him in the Ice Golem, I do use him in Ice Golem as well. Along with someone like Draco, who has a very strong A1, will really make sure that you deal deal a lot of damage to the boss in a very short time. Let me just show you his damage right here. Let me move myself. All right, so he did 1 million damage himself. Of course, Xavia will do the most, but of course, him with that ally attack will help all of your other teammates do a lot more damage and to make this fight a lot quicker. All right, so hope you found this useful. This is CARDIEL Void Legendary. So of course, not a lot of you will have him, but if you're one of those lucky few, he is a very, very good champion to have. You're most likely going to use him in a lot of your teams. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video.